What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wait What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 93. My name is Bret, aka Enigma 911, and today I am joined by the host of the Trophy Room, Joe, aka Mr. Bad Bit. How are you, Joe?
I'm good, and you passed the test. Usually people say the PlayStation trophy room. I
Ah,
have to correct them. I have to say, no, 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 no. You failed. Do it again.
yes.
I get it. I get it.
I
I get it.
appreciate you being on, man. It means a lot. Remember, guys,
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here, man.
nice. Viewers, remember you guys can catch this live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 every other Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat if you're a sub over there. We'd love to have you. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. You can go over to YouTube and SoundCloud the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch store. You can get all of your swag over there, t-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand to support us. It would be greatly appreciated. So yes, we got Joe on today. A few episodes ago, we had his co-host on. We had Kyle Stevenson on, Mr. K-Step, talking about content. So I kind of want to pick Joe's brain today about content, which Kyle's kind of alluded to a little bit in his talk.
Did he really?
He did.
I hope it was nice and not too negative.
So Joe, I guess we'll just start right at the beginning. How did you get into content?
Man, I got a sad story for you
Oh,
about
okay.
2015. Would it be 6 years? 2015, 2016?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sadness really wants to repress the memories. But, I was doing a dumb little podcast with my brother, right? It
Okay.
was going nowhere. And I was like, you know what? It's time to pivot. Let's do YouTube. I was making real bad videos, man. I mean, real bad. Like, it was me playing Destiny, and I didn't know how to record audio on a separate track, so I would be playing Destiny and talking about something at the same time. That's impossible. Anybody try to do it, you can't. And they were bad, but they were just something I wanted to do because people said I was real entertaining and such. I was like, okay, let me try it. A few weeks into that, I found out my grandpa had stomach cancer
Okay.
and it moved everywhere. And my grandpa never wanted to, he never liked being the center of attention,
Mm-hmm.
but it's ironic because he would end up being the glue that held the family together.
Mm.
Um, so he had a few weeks to live. And when we got word of that, of how bad it was progressing, um, it's rough. So, I was working a job that I absolutely loathed, and I was going home to say goodbye to my grandpa, make him feel okay as he goes. And it it hurt so much so that like I would go home and I'd be like, I gotta think of something other than my grandpa passing. So I would just make little stupid YouTube videos, and that would escalate after he passed. Of course, I didn't do anything other than that. I was still in a really deep depression. I was like, you know what? The thing that really helped was doing this dumb little YouTube thing. And it escalated. The ball started rolling, and I started doing more and more of the YouTube business. In 2017, I made the proto show of the Trophy Room, and I really loved talking PlayStation. And this was actually during the times because I was a big Beyond fan,
Mm-hmm.
huge. I was a big PS I Love You fan as well. That was my favorite podcast, still is my favorite podcast of all time. And I was really pissed when Greg announced that he was going to end it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ah, son of a gun. And I was so mad that I was like, Thanos Gauntlet, I'm going to do it myself.
There you go.
If he's not, I'm going to. And it wasn't even like, because I see people when like there's a vacuum for something, they're like, I'm going to do it. This is going to be the next big thing. No, it was literally like, damn it. I need an excuse to talk PlayStation or just hear PlayStation opinions or whatever. This is the best place. This I'm gonna make this place. Damn it. And so I did. And 2018, Kyle comes along, and we totally rebrand. To me, it's a totally different show. That's why to me, I'm like, it's the proto show. This was the show before the trophy room.
Mm-hmm.
So we made the trophy room 18 January 10th, I believe. I'm bad at anniversary. Same with Kyle, so he can't hold it against me. And from then, I kind of ditched YouTube and I've focused solely on the podcast and how to grow that thing. So that's what I've been up to for so long.
Wow. Okay. A lot of stuff. Okay. So
Oh, I'll have to dissect. You one by one. Let's do it.
so with you transferring from the YouTube stuff to the podcasting specifically, was there anything that you've kind of learned from the YouTube stuff that you created and kind of implemented it into the podcast as you were creating them going forward?
The number one thing that I'm constantly always trying to improve on is when it comes to podcasting, when it comes to just anything, you need good audio. I'm not an audio master. I'm never going to be an audio whiz, but I always wanted to get to a point where I sound good, Kyle sounds good, we have a good show. Because the number one thing is like, you can, when you're making a YouTube video, you think the number one thing is a camera, lighting, but it's your voice. So you have to understand that if I'm coming in and you don't care what I have to say because you can't hear it. So people's attentions are very quick to that. So the number one thing that I learned is audio, audio, audio above everything. That's the most important thing to me. And again, we're still trying to make sure that we have the best audio that we can have. And honestly, it's a night and day. You tune into something we did in 2018 to what we did or what we're doing now. You're like, whoa,
Right.
That's an improvement. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's my thing I've learned for sure.
Very cool. Okay, so going along the path of audio, was it hard to kind of find your voice for how you wanted to present your product?
How so? Like voices in like my the way I articulate myself. Or...
So like for example, with my podcast, like you mentioned, going back and listening to earlier stuff, like I can hear myself like, oh, I stumbled here, or obviously the intro's not as strong as it was. Just having like maybe even just the confidence level to, this is like, as the host, this is how I'm gonna intro, this is how I'm gonna, throw to Kyle, how to keep everything flowing. How'd you find that? What was the process?
Time. A lot, like, so the one thing that I try to do, something we did before here, have a little conversation. If I'm having guests on, have a little talk with them before the show goes, so I can understand their inflection points and when I can take over that conversation or take over that topic, or if I'm not going to be able to.
Okay.
So stuff like that comes in time, and it comes with a lot of reading body language. And when it comes to like Kyle, it's always a work in progress, but I think we've come to the point with us where I know when Kyle's going to break. Kyle knows when I'm going to break half the time. And we had a conversation a few years ago where you talk about knowing the product. I knew I was talking too much.
Okay.
And I knew Kyle didn't have the confidence to cut me off. And I'm like, Kyle, whatever I'm saying and you have a better point, just come in. Just come in and I will learn how to shut up, because that is one thing coming from YouTube is like, you're usually trying to talk for 8 minutes.
Right.
Right? Because it's a YouTube video. So in podcasts, it's a bit different. You don't want to go for too long unless it's something like this where you're interviewing me. So like, yeah, that's the one thing, is it's a learning process. And I think that's what a lot of people don't know going into it. They expect just to get it like that.
Right.
And when they don't, it hurts them,
Yeah.
Kills the motivation.
For sure. Yeah, listening to the podcast week to week, you guys definitely have a great chemistry together, and like everything flows really well and it's really entertaining. So obviously with the time that you guys have put in, it's clearly worked. So congrats on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work each and every week.
So with bringing up Kyle, in our conversation, he mentioned how like he was the shy kid, which I definitely can understand. Like even speaking in front of his class, that kind of freaked him out. Have you were you similar in that way, or have you always been like more the social butterfly, as I like to put the term?
I'm the extroverted introvert.
Okay.
So I usually dread, for some reason, the social gathering, but once I'm at the social gathering, I'm usually nailing it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I so I would say that's what makes me a little unique. Is yeah, I'm not so much the. I guess I am the social butterfly, but it is breaking out of the cocoon. It's like dragging me to that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in school, I was always that way too.
Okay.
Um, so like, yeah, once my mouth started opening, people liked what I heard, but it was usually getting my mouth to open.
Yeah, totally understandable. Totally understandable. So you've kind of mentioned it before with like taking the spot, that void that PS I Love You left, and
Yeah.
bringing it to your own. Was that the only reason for focusing on PlayStation compared to maybe Xbox or Nintendo, or was there something else involved with that?
Great question. So for me, my journey with video games was I was a Nintendo kid.
Okay.
My SNES is the first console I ever got. Super Mario World was the first game I ever beat, and it is the best Mario still to this day.
Mm.
When I was a teenager, I was an Xbox kid
Mm-hmm.
through to the 360 era until the 11th Red Ring. At this point, I'm just making up numbers. It was a lot of Red Rings, y'all. And then I jumped on the PS3 train, played Uncharted 2 during the PlayStation 3 blackout. That's where I got on the PlayStation bandwagon.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, there are so many great games here. What was I doing? Because I was like a dumb little fanboy at that time. And it was at that time where I found PS I Love You. Or sorry, what would be Beyond at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually during the blackout days. I'm like, this console's great. Like, online capability, not so much, but everything else really good. um, and it was really during the PlayStation 4 age where, I completely abandoned Xbox. Like, I didn't even feel like honestly, I'm going to be it's the most fanboyish thing I'm ever going to say. There's not many reasons to own an Xbox One to me before Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn. This was just after E3 of that same year. And it was funny because I tried playing Horizon back in February. I couldn't get into it because Zelda just came out afterwards. I was like, oh my God, this is Breath of the Wild is amazing. And after E3, I fell in love with Horizon. Like, it was just 2 weeks straight. So when Greg broke the news that he wasn't going to be doing it anymore, which understandable,
Mm-hmm.
I was so upset because I wanted more than anything for Colin and Greg to talk about Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I missed. I missed those conversations. And so it was really the love of Horizon Zero Dawn, me really thinking back to myself going, you know what? I really do love everything that Sony puts out. This is the thing I really like. But then also understanding that I'm not the PlayStation encyclopedia like Colin or Greg were, and nor probably ever will be. And so my first focus was, I need to get someone that has that.
Okay.
And because if it's just me and some other guy, well, that's fair weather. We can leave and we can make the achievement hall next if Xbox does well.
Mm-hmm.
I want someone that is unabashedly loves PlayStation, and that was Kyle.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So with the trophy room, obviously the success it's had, do you have any future goals like that you want to do with the product? Whether it's, I don't know, maybe a different show or hosting a panel at a convention?
So we've had a few plans. Like, we have a PAX thing we would like to do.
Okay.
I don't know if we're doing it this year. I don't think luck was on our side.
Gotcha.
I'm often really pretty realistic when it comes to the podcast and my expectations. When people ask me what are the goals of the PlayStation, or, the trophy room, I just say I just want to keep doing it every week.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Is the goal? Would it be nice to be the next Greg Miller? Yeah, sure, but it's not happening. When the biggest piece of advice I can ever give any content creator is you're not here to be the next PewDiePie or whoever has the most subs on the YouTubes. You're not here to be the next and the best. You're here to give people a reason to escape the mundane and escape the realities of the world. That is your mission. And if you choose to accept it, and if you want to build a community, that should be the goal. It's just to have fun. It's not about the check or quitting your job, because the reality of it, super slim.
Mm-hmm.
Very incredibly slim. So although 90+% of all YouTube traffic is smaller channels, more than 90% of those channels A being the next PewDiePie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I try to really stick home is get those expectations grounded, do it because you love it. So my future plans for the trophy room is, I think some would maybe call it short-sighted, but it's okay. So we're getting forward momentum. How do we keep that forward momentum while at the same time holding true to the thing that makes our community us? So we're trying to book some more guests, but not trying to make the show about the next guest, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Very nice. Yeah, that's some good advice there. I definitely, I've had some struggles with that. I'm like, ugh, not good. And I'm sure we'll talk about that with the topic too. But with the show's lifespan, do you have a favorite episode or maybe a favorite moment from your recordings?
It would be easy to say the Greg Miller episode.
Mm-hmm.
Very easy to say that, but it's not.
Okay.
I walked away from that episode going, man, I hope I did good. Man, I hope I did okay, and I hope I tried my best. Because Kyle likes to do this, and I hate when Kyle does this. He'll be like, I did this thing, it's really cool, this should be his thing, and he's just like, all right, it's about everybody else but me, and I'm just gonna sit back and relax. I'm like, Kyle, no, stop. Like it's this apprehensiveness about the spotlight. I'm like, bring you in here.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's a great episode, but it's not our best one.
Mm-hmm.
I think our best one is the Black Lives Matter episode that we did. I forget the title. I think we just named it Black Lives Matter. So our show is we, again, a creator's job should be taking you out of the realities of the world, should be making a community that is truly inclusive, that is about bringing everybody together and making a space where people feel comfortable and they feel safe. It's my job is not to say, and I know like I could get a lot of shit for this, but my job is not to say that Joe Biden's great or Donald Trump's the devil. These are things that half of that's fact. Donald Trump's the devil. But like it's not my job to beat you over the head with that every week, right? Like it's just my job to talk about PlayStation. So when we saw the Black Lives Matter movement grow in such a way, and it was on the weekend that PlayStation was supposed to hold their Future of Gaming event, it's an inflection point for every podcast, for every creator of, okay, so what is my mission? What am I going to do here? And it's funny because I was talking to one of our members and they were just like, thank you for being so outspoken. Thank you for doing all these things. And to us, I took that moment of like, this is not a political message. This is just saying that a black person's life matters. As a Hispanic and someone that passes as white, I have cousins who are darker skinned. And I remember as a kid, they would get looked at. I remember this actually I was just making coffee thinking about the time where I went to a convenience store with my cousins. My one Carlos, he's technically our half cousin, but to us, family. So he's my cousin. And he's dark skinned. And I'm light skinned. And then my cousin Allie, she is white skinned. She is white at the end of the day. And so we went to a convenience store. The person was watching my cousin Carlos and I. More so my cousin Carlos because he is a darker skinned person. we came out of the convenience store, and my cousin Allie stole. The convenience clerk never knew. Because they just were looking at my cousin Carlos. It was my white cousin Allie that stole that keychain. So I understood that those things exist here and are prevalent here. And so by me saying Black Lives Matter, by us having a conversation, I'm not here to sit you down and tell you I have all the answers to this. I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to explain you systematic racism. I'm just here to tell you that you as an individual, no matter the color of your skin, sexual orientation, are welcomed here. I may not be the perfect ally. I'm going to make a mistake. I know that, we're human. But we're here to help each other up when we do that too. So that episode, it was me, our good friend Emmett Watkins Jr., and Kyle. And I brought Emmett on because I was just like, hey man, I feel like this is really important. I don't want to just have you on because, it's like, hey, here's our black friend Emmett. I want us to have a real conversation. I want to talk about the three perspectives. The Hispanic perspective of being an American, the black perspective, and then Kyle being the white guy. And let's just have a talk. And it was a really good heart-to-heart. And the moment is Kyle. Kyle thought he didn't do great because he was very emotional, and he was getting really teared up. And he's just like, I'm just here to learn.
Right.
Like, this is what I just need to listen. And you don't know how many times I get DMs from folks, especially during that event, going, that is the episode. That is the moment that solidified what this thing is, what this podcast means. So we don't shy away from that stuff. And that was a moment where we very easily could have, and not to even our detriment. And, you don't, and the thing is, and I think what makes that moment more meaningful is you don't have to use your platform to say Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ Lives Matter. You could literally just use your platform to talk about games. Or you could take the risk, you could get some people upset and go, no, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ Lives Matter. And you don't get the reward for it. You're just letting people know that they're not alone.
Right.
So that was the most important one, because that's what our podcast is at this point. It's the thing that we are, when people say the show's great, that is the number one reason. And that's that episode for me.
Okay.
Again, I don't like to get like political stuff.
Right.
But to me, I'm like, that's not political.
Right.
LGBTQ lives, that's not political. Right? To me, it's like, I'm going to explain to you why trickle-down economics doesn't work. That's political. But that's the most important thing. So I got very ranty there.
No, you're good. You're good, man. You're good.
Thank you.
So I got two more questions for you. So
Okay.
obviously we had a lot of news come out this past week with E3, but we've had some other game announcements periodically throughout the year. Is there a game in particular that you're looking forward to talking about on the Trophy Room?
You got me here.
Yeah.
It's definitely, listen, I think before the show I stated that it's been 2,279 days since, as of recording, the launch of Bloodborne. I believe as of recording right now, we're 215 days away from the release of Elden Ring. So if there's one game that in particular I'm going to absolutely gush over, it's Elden Ring. God, that game looks so good. And it looks so beautiful. And then just the other day, I heard of like this project, Velvet Curtain or something like that.
Okay.
It's a project from Software. It's supposedly spiritual successor of Bloodborne. So we got two right there. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I love From Software. They can do no wrong to me.
Nice.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, with your previously talking about Horizon Zero Dawn, I think I'm excited to hear you guys talk about 2. I think that wasn't E3 specifically, but I'm really looking forward to that. Like, I remember streaming that one and just loving the story so much. Like, obviously it's got the open world elements to it, but I remember streamlining that story so much that when I got to the end, I hadn't really upgraded my bow at all. So I'm just sitting there like, bink! little slivers of health just going away. I'm like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really fun. Um, Honestly, can I tell you one of my favorite moments
Sure.
of the trophy room so far? As I struggle to open this water bottle, it's the worst. Um, one of the best moments I had, maybe most euphoric moments, is watching the trophy room stream of the Horizon State of Play,
Mm-hmm.
because it was that like full circle moment of I started this podcast, no viewers, because I wanted to share my love of this game. And now I'm sitting here with a couple dozen of fans I call friends. We're sharing this moment together because of this moment, you know?
Right.
It's awesome. So yeah, I'm super excited.
Nice.
Super excited. November, let's make it happen.
Exactly. Can't come soon enough. So my last question, not gonna lie, is kind of a selfish one.
Okay.
What is the opposition or disgust, disdain, or whatever it is, to banger? Every time it comes up, I'm like, oh, they got it.
It's okay. First off, I need to make this clear. Because I'm reading the word that someone else is saying, I'm not saying
Right, doesn't count.
it doesn't count. All right, and that doesn't mean that you get to write an awful manifesto. I'm not gonna read that.
Right.
Right? But honestly, they're very close. Because banger is a word that. Here's the thing: it's used too much to explain something. So I typically hate when words are overly used, and they don't really describe anything. Like, what does it really mean? Apparently, in Great Britain, that word means something totally different.
Right.
And I find it hilarious. That acceptable. If you're Great Britain, you got slang, go for it. But, well, maybe not acceptable. I don't know. But to me, I just hate when people use it because it's not a good description of everything. Like, what again? Oh my god, that trailer was absolutely excellent. That's a way better word than something so short and cheap, right? So it's also my disdain of like when people say bet, that's fine, but like we're getting there. Like like that, or that. I heard someone go, "That's flame" to describe something cool, just describe something that's fire. And I'm like, isn't flame? So is that just you're excited and not that excited though? Because fire would be like, oh man, that's hot, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's just stupid lingo. That's stupid words. We could use better words here.
All right.
We could be better people. Banger's an easy way out. Nah, see, now I said it. But it's just to describe my disdain
For sure.
for it.
Still doesn't count. Nobody.
Because when people, it doesn't count. When people say, oh, it's just a, again, I'm quoting people that say, it's a triple A B word. Okay? That, I'm just like, what is that? What does that mean? It's just, I hear too much. And I just need it to end. Because it's like kind of like when you see a dad and they're listening to their kids' music unironically because they want to understand them.
Yeah.
Right? The dad is trying to wear, I don't know, like Crocs because he thinks it's in. It's like, no, it's not. You can't escape the mortal coil. Just listen to Bon Jovi like you know you should be right now. Okay? Don't give me that. So like, if I heard some kid, they don't know any better, and that's fine. But if I'm hearing a 32-year-old man use that language, I'm judging you because I'm like, that's not you. You didn't pick that up. You're not one with the youth. Who are you fooling? It's like when old people dye their hair black. It's like, dude, obviously not your natural hair.
Right.
Don't worry. There's no shame of having a gray hair. This is a dumb word. It's like I could hear Kim Kardashian saying it, and it just makes me upset. Irrationally so. It's like, is that who you want to be? You know, like Paris Hilton. You know what? She had the best idea. Once her flame, ended, she's just like, I'm just gonna be out of the public spotlight,
Right.
because I'm not popular anymore. She didn't try to make dumb words up. She did that's hot, and then she's like, this is a word that's being overused. Now I'm gonna dip out. Exactly. So it's just like, it's it's just, you shouldn't say it. You just shouldn't. That's it.
All right. Fair enough. Well, that's going to wrap up topic 1. So, yes, everybody, please go check out the Trophy Room on podcast services. Great listen. Very entertaining. So, yes, please go make sure you guys sub, all that fun stuff to Joe and Kyle over there. So, moving on to topic 2. Joe, what is your topic today?
I want to talk about imposter syndrome. This is a broad one, but I think that people need to listen. They need to talk about it openly and honestly. And I think imposter syndrome comes in many different shapes, many different forms. Because when I hear people go, I'm going to break my imposter syndrome today, I'm like, good luck. That's not happening. You're constantly dealing with it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, and maybe that's my pessimism with it. But where, for you, good sir, does your imposter syndrome lay? How does it trigger you? Do you even understand it?
Right. This past year has been an interesting one. I mean, for all of us, because there's a lot going on. But
Yeah,
I think this was the first time I had not fully faced it, but thought about it actively. There was a point with just the streams, the podcast, whatever. We talked about it in topic 1, like doing things for you, doing it because you enjoy it, not to be this person, to be this person, numbers, whatever it is. So when I was making stuff, numbers weren't, flying off the shelves. Nothing was really happening, whatever. So I was like getting in my head a lot about that. And I still wanted to do it because it was like, if I don't do it, how's it going to get better, etc. But it just was like something was not healthy about thinking about these things constantly. So I was thinking it was that. I don't know if I still fully understand it entirely or how to tackle it, change it, whatever. I have started to get back in that mindset of you're doing this for you. For example, this podcast doesn't get that many listens. That's fine. I'm doing it for me. How do I become more social? How do I talk? How do I hold a conversation? How do I do interviews? Whatever it is, that's the focus of this. Whether it's this podcast or if it's Marvel, it's let's just talk about something I love talking about. Put it out there, and then streams hopefully let's have some fun playing some games that I want to play. I think that's the big thing is reminding myself of why, I'm trying to do these things. But it is a bitch when it happens, when you're getting in your head so much. So that would be my experience with it.
Yeah. For me, I think imposter syndrome comes from anxiety. For me, that's how I base it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that we all internally talk about, but we don't have the internal dialogue with ourselves that well, or we let it kind of consume us, or we don't talk to any other person about it. Right? So, for me, and it's also, if I'm going to be honest, it's also a selfish thought to me.
Oh, yep.
Because sometimes I see some creators going, "Oh, really? That person? Oh, okay." And it's not even it's not some of it. Sometimes it's jealousy for sure, but sometimes I'm just they're genuinely not good. I don't know how they got this opportunity and I didn't, because I know I'm better than that person.
Yeah.
And you get into your head that way of well, maybe I am just a dumb piece of crap. It's also a thought of, I've put X amount of time into something. So with this podcast, I've put 3 years into this podcast. I've seen people put 3 years into a podcast and it's a lot bigger than mine. Oh, I guess I'm a big dumb idiot and nothing's going to ever work out. Right? That it's that mindset as well. But I don't think we sit back and we understand, because I think we're really bad as a society of looking at the other perspective, whether that's just a person's struggle, political or something like this. We're really bad at saying, why does that person think that way, believe the thing they do, and actually have a critical thought dialogue with ourselves about it. And what we don't often see creator wise is like how much that person's worked and more importantly has learned. And then even more importantly is that the 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 base that they already start with. So if I take, Barack Obama, he started a podcast like last week. It's already #1 on iTunes. I understand he's Barack Obama.
Yeah.
He's the president. There's people, ex-president. I wish he wants. He has a base of people that want to listen to him.
Yeah.
So yes, that's going to be obvious. He's going to have more people listening to him in one episode than I'll ever have on the trophy room. That's fine, right? And when it comes to people that I'm just like, oh boy, I don't even know how. It's like, well, it's life. You get a chance. Doesn't mean that the other person's gonna get a chance, right? It's chaos. Things just happen sporadically, sometimes for no reason whatsoever. Just enjoy the ride, you big dumb idiot. That's what I say to myself. And there are people that you get kind of jealous of because you're just like, huh, I don't like you one bit. I think you're a terrible human being. How did you trick that person into thinking you were decent? That is something that off the show I'll talk to you about. But that's not something that is sometimes the worst type of one, because it's like, to me, I've stopped thinking that way. Not to say most of the times the thoughts slip, but to me, I've learned how to deal with it in the best way possible because I see my friends succeed. So like my good friend Sean Capri was on the X-Cast, right? My friend Luke Lore got Andrea Renee on his show. My friend Ainsley just got Steven Spawn on his show. That's awesome. These are people that are succeeding around me. They want to be around me for a reason. So I'm in good company.
Right.
We go, oh, why did that person? When we just go where we should be going, like, oh, good for that person. All right, good for you. Good for you getting that dying light map. That doesn't really mean stuff. I think also it's the constant, and maybe now I'm using you as a psychiatrist, where we use those moments as invalidating or validating what we do. So it's like, how do we seek validation for all the work we put into it? Because it's obviously not for money. Right? Because I would have been out of here a long time ago. So how do we get that validation? And maybe I get a little salty because, like, I see people getting E3 stuff, right? Like, getting E3 invites, and I'm just like, they put it on Twitter. I'm like, is that the validation that you're seeking, right? Is that celebratory thing? Is that heartfelt? Or is that the thing you needed to, in your mind's eye, to look at and go, okay, I made it, Dad. And if we don't get those things, do we get invalidated? Like, well, I didn't get to E3 this year. I guess I'm a piece of crap. That's something I also think about as well.
Gotcha.
Luckily, I don't have those thoughts a lot.
That's good.
But when they come and go, it's something that I've learned to kind of think about. And for you, I guess this comes part of the imposter syndrome thing. How do you seek the validation? How do you get the validation for doing that thing?
That's a good
question. What is the thing that drives you?
Yikes.
Because if the imposter syndrome is the thing that immobilizes you, that you second guess, what is that thing that puts the fuel in your tank?
Gotcha. Just real quick, I totally agree on the like other people thing. Like, how are they doing this? How are they doing this? That was a big one too that I was dealing with. Like, this person started after me, and now they're up here. It's like, what? What's happening? So, yeah,
it's the thought that we're all afraid of, that sometimes is the truth. It's the thing that we're scared to confront, is that there are people that are just straight up better than you.
Right.
Right? Because we want to be the author of our own story. We want to be the main protagonist. And when we see someone that we think is a side character in our life, and they're getting all that attention, that spotlight, you're like, what the? No. That happens in chapter 11, and that's me, not you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's a hard pill to swallow, but I swallowed it a long time ago, where I'm just like, I look at someone and I'm just like, you are on another level. You're way better than I can ever be. But maybe I'll get there. And it should be something that pushes you. A great example of this is my good friend Sean Capri. I'm going to mention him a lot because I owe him a great deal. But I think he's better than me in most stuff. I admire the way the man thinks. And I look at him and I'm like, oh, he got a dope intro. Oh, how did he do this with his video? Oh, that's a great transition point. Oh, that's great. And I'm just like, how do I do better than Sean? Right? But it's not in the, haha, I got you, Sean. It's the, you motivated me to be better than what I thought I could be.
Right.
And it's easy for ourselves to go and look at someone else that we don't know and go, whoa, chill out. We started the same year, man. I don't think your content's that great. What? And that get in your head, and then that demotivate you. But to bring it back around, what is the thing that, fills you up?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Honestly, I guess I would just say like I mentioned before, like, how do I make myself better? Like, that was the point of the podcast. Like, how do I put myself out there? I've been lucky enough to be able to go to like Kind of Funny events, Kind of Funny Live 2, 3, prom, do that. And I've just noticed, like, while I have a blast at those events and I have a great time, the show's great, whatever, socially definitely was like lower point. Like, not that anybody was mean or anything. Like, I had good interactions with those people I talked to, but like, I was always having a tough time putting myself forward and talking and like, should be normal stuff. So I figured like, at least this podcast can help with that. And in a weird way, like, I was already doing it. So years ago, I was a Taekwondo instructor. Never thought I would be up in front of people, teaching classes, doing that. But obviously that worked out. So it was like, okay, how do I take this craft that I've worked over here and then obviously implement it in normal life or other stuff? So yeah, it was just like, how do I make myself better? And you mentioned it with like Sean Capri. Like, you're looking at stuff, oh, they're doing that. How do I do that? Like, take these cool things and do that. And that's the right way to do things. Like, that's really cool. I want to do that. How do I do that? Instead of, oh, that's really cool, and then just negative thoughts like, oh,
That's a piece of shit. Yeah, and that's a cool, like, the cool thing is, like, me and Sean will talk to each other, and we're very much like that, of like, so how did you do this? Because now you got me wanting to do it. It's awesome to have those people that are in your camp that have the healthy competition. And we're not, never would be jealous of Sean, and I don't think the same as well. We're always happy and we're always cheering each other on.
Good.
And that's the one thing too. A lot of people, we said, like, you're at this event, right? Kind of funny stuff. And you're just like, oh, we all like the same thing, but I'm scared.
Yeah.
It's like, that is a difficult thing to navigate. Podcasting makes that so much easier because, I am a big nerd, so I like to listen to podcasts about podcasting.
Okay.
And for me, I love what the one person said. It's like, okay, so what if you get 35 listeners for your podcast? Is that bad or is that good? Well, think about it like this. You are in a room and 35 people are watching you talk to your friend or have a conversation. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
You should be happy with that number, even if it's just one person. You should be really happy that one person came to listen to you. I remember being at a PAX panel, and I went to that PAX panel because my feet hurt and I wanted to sit down. And I listened to these people rate Final Fantasy games. And those creators, I'm just like, oh my God, these people are fantastic. I'm listening to them. I got the opportunity, not because I even wanted to. Not I don't even like Final Fantasy that much, but I like them so much that I stuck around. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that I think we often forget. Are people behind the number? So it's easy to look at that number and going, oh man, I only hit 2.5 people this week. Views and listens or whatever wise. Shit. But it's like, that 1 or 2 people listened. They stopped. They literally said their day could be on hold or their day sucked without you being there. I remember there was one mean comment, the first mean comment I got on YouTube. And I'd often get now, so. And I get way more now, is what I meant. I was just like, whoa, holy shit. I elicited an emotional response. It was negative, but someone took time out of their day to be a mean piece of shit towards me. Isn't that cool? That is a great way of looking at
yeah, it is.
That's what it should be about. That's the other thing, too, is oftentimes because we talk about Kind of Funny, obviously we admire their work. Obviously, I have a PlayStation podcast because of them, and it's inspired by their PlayStation podcast. And the one thing that I always tell people to do is because I believe that the Kind of Funny community is probably the most creative folks out there. But don't just make a Kind of Funny podcast. Make your podcast. Be your own creator. This is your community. This is your work. And we can take a look back, like I take a look back at podcasts. And to me, my podcast is no anywhere different than 50 other podcasts. When I take a look at Beyond, I take a look at something like The Tonight Show. Take a look at Late Night. You take you break down Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and Colbert. They all 3 of them have the same exact show, 2 of which are imitations of The Tonight Show, right? But all 3 of those shows are different because of the host.
Right.
They all have a monologue. They all have a musical guest. They all have guests that they talk and have banter with. All 3 of those things are the same, but each one of them make it their own. To me, the number one thing is for me is you got to own it, and this is your thing more than any. That's the one thing that I always try to put in my head, because if the trophy room is just a Beyond clone, then it's not special to me. But if this thing is mine, then this thing is mine, and it's earned by me. And that's a really important thing to put that out there to creators, because I feel like oftentimes we devalue ourselves by just going, this is just a clone of Machinima or whatever, right? This is just a lame imitation of X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, you are something totally more than that. The value is not you could be doing something similar, but because you're there, it's something completely different.
Right.
Right. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, when it comes to the imposter syndrome thing, though, I still go back to you. I gave you a lot of time. Is there something that motivates you to break through the imposter syndrome?
So you kind of alluded to it before, but I think having those healthy conversations with people you trust and people you can freely talk with, that's great. I've had a lot of good conversations, whether it's with my girlfriend or friends or family members who know that I do this, and then they're genuinely okay, yeah, exactly. That's great. You're doing this. How, explain it to me, what you're doing. And then just that outside force, sometimes you don't think of those things because you're in your own box, and then they're oh, what about this thing? And it's that's great. Those conversations, I think, is another thing that refuels too. It's just oh shit, this new perspective, talking with these people and that network and stuff. That's good.
I always constantly go to I have a tight-knit group of people that I go to. I have a council of folks that they've never met, but I just go to these people and I ask for their unvarnished, unfiltered thoughts on a thing. So I won't mention Sean anymore, but I'll mention my good friend of me, Luke Lore, and he's a piece of garbage, terrible human being. But I go to him constantly because I know he's gonna give me the truth, and I know how Luke thinks, so I can see where his perspective's coming from. So I can literally tell him, so I did a show, was it bad? And he will give me the truth, which is something we often don't want to hear. We always want to be like,
Right.
you made the best, this is great. But like, I genuinely wanna know what I did wrong,
Yeah.
or what I did right, and he'll go and he'll tell me the business.
Good.
And that's what I go. It's to me, it's not seeking the validation of someone I've never met.
Mm-hmm.
It's seeking getting that validation from the people that I trust.
Yeah.
There are people that I admire. There are great folks out there, but those aren't going to tell you. They're not even going to respond to you the truth, right? Mm-hmm. They're those are just positions that you aspire to be in one day. To me, I want the opinion of someone that actually matters to me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where I get that validation. Because there are frustrating times. Like, how the hell do I reach out to these PR people?
Yeah.
That's
right.
Like, as a publicist, I'm like, I don't even know sometimes, man. What is going on here? And I wish that I can understand that better. And it's only by talking to my friends that I've learned how to talk to PR folks and not get bummed out when they go, nah, we're passing, or don't even respond. Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10, not even gonna respond, and being okay with it, because just understanding the nature of it.
Yeah.
That's how I deal, man.
That's good. That's good, having that healthy relationship. And yeah, the reaching out thing. Like, even with this, like, I want more guests on. Cool, reach out to people. I've never talked to this person before, but they do cool stuff. Yeah, let's try that, you know? So,
yeah. Totally. And to me, it's like, and I mean, we've done that multiple times. There's some people that I've asked multiple times and not even a response. But I understand. I'm like, it's the time of day. If something broke, like a piece of news broke, I'm like, obviously they're not going to respond. They're probably flooded with stuff. And kind of having that understanding. But to me, it's like always having understanding I have a good pitch for stuff. I actually explained on our Patreon how I pitch the podcast to folks, and it's just like not being afraid to reach out, because like, yeah, it's maybe they're gonna say no, maybe they're gonna say yes, but who cares either way? Because to me, like, I didn't think when I had like someone like Greg on, and I keep naming dropping, but I there's a great example, I promise. Is I'm like, realistically, is this guy going to become my best friend at the end of this? No. We're just going to go our separate ways. Right. He has an obligation to fill. I have an obligation just to do my best as a host. Mm-hmm. It's understanding, like, just because I've reached out to you doesn't mean it's going to happen. Just because I did and I said yes doesn't mean it's going to be the big boon to the channel. What's going to be the boon is owning that moment of like, okay, whoever does show up here, let's see if I could get them to stay here. Right. And that's always the harder thing to do. And that's a great also example that I've learned from a podcast about podcasts. To psych yourself not so much up, but build those normal expectations of like network because you want to network, not because you think it's, like, there's one example they use. One of their guests interviewed Kevin Hart. Okay. And they thought, oh my God, Kevin Hart, huge guest. I'm going to get the biggest numbers. Mm-hmm. And it actually wasn't. It's like, yeah, it was just normal. But he interviewed 2 people about like a farm in Kentucky that they made. And that was their most popular episode ever. Didn't have a name attached. It was just that episode resonated with folks. So it's how do I get that, resignation? No, I don't know the word I want, but how do you get those people to stick? That's the most important thing to me, at least.
Okay.
I spawned that off into something completely different. The caffeine's kicked in. You're talking to the Trader Joe's coffee, not Joe anymore, and I apologize.
You're good. You're good.
You're talking to Trader Joe himself.
Nice. I'll change the little name card down underneath.
You.
Nice.
Trader Joe.
There you go. Perfect. Go follow. Nice. Very cool. That was a great topic. Good discussion. And I mean,
thank you.
These, topics like these are good to have because like everybody deals with it, and like finding that healthy way to deal with it, or at least acknowledging it is, good start. And yeah, it was good to chat about because even though it may not be present right now, like that's always something that can,
Be present.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know, but until it happens.
Right.
And yeah, it is something as a creator you're going to deal with in various ways, and various things are going to trigger it. But I would always just to end cap it is confront it instead of walking away from it.
For sure.
And confront it by doing what that imposter syndrome says don't do. Yeah.
There you go. Nice. So that's going to wrap up topic 2. So viewers, we're now going to move on to topic 3. Now, this is Joe's first time on the podcast. So when I have a guest on for the first time, I like to take them to the lightning round of questions, just so you guys get to know them a little bit better. So I'm going to ask Joe a series of questions right now. He's going to answer with the first thing that comes to his head. Anything he wants to elaborate on, he's more than welcome to, but just leave it at the answer if he wants to. Joe, are you ready, good sir?
Yes.
Okay, nothing too difficult, I promise.
I hope. I suck with on the spot stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, first one should be easy. Favorite color?
Blue.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay.
Dogs. You know what? I got very, very depressed because Joe Biden's dog passed away, and my dog's getting older there, and it got me thinking. If there's just oblivion waiting for us, that's fine, but at least have a heaven for dogs.
There you go. Favorite game?
Oh my God, Bloodborne, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Let's go.
Favorite movie?
Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Hands down.
Let's see. Favorite type of music?
That one's hard. I'm gonna say metal.
Nice.
But it's really anything that sounds nice.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Favorite song?
Anything by the Beatles.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Or Under Pressure. Yeah, Under Pressure is great.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
What was your dream job when you were a kid?
I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
Me with kids? Come on.
Let's see. If you could have any animal to be a pet, what would it be?
Chimpanzee. He'd sit on my shoulder. I'd feed him crackers.
Good plan. Good plan. Yeah. If you could meet one celebrity, regardless of alive or dead or their level of fame, who would it be?
Oh, man, I always get this one all the time. And I surprise people when I say FDR, Abraham Lincoln, Barack Obama, in that order.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Any specific reason for that order?
Yeah, FDR is my favorite one of my favorite historical figures. I get it. He has some not good stuff he's done, y'all. I get it. But this is a man who was wheelchair bound that literally rose to the opportunity and defeated fascism. Like, that's nuts. And like established the U.S. as a global superpower. That's crazy. And then took us out of the Depression. Do you not want to pick that man's brain? Sure. He's alive today. He's going to be like, what is this world like? It's crazy. And then to go along with that, there's a great quote from the movie Lincoln is, are we born into the era that we live in? Some people just think a little bit farther ahead than others, right? Some of those great minds that just think 50, 100 years in the future and just nail it. Abraham Lincoln took a divided nation and literally tried his best to sew it together in an imperfect union, sewing together an imperfect divorce. Is crazy of all the things that the fallout of which, like, whoa, I'd like to pick his brain for Well, not literally. I mean, before the Ford Theater, I'd like to pick his brain and understand it. Also, Barack Obama, he was the first political leader I had. Like, just I'm enamored by the way that man thinks. As well, another great thinker, also imperfect, but the one speech where he connects, Selma, Stonewall, um, those moments, I was like, oh my God, just teach me how to talk, Barack, please, Barry, and please introduce me to your lovely wife.
Favorite season?
Fall.
Okay. Favorite holiday?
My brain's going Christmas, but my heart's going Thanksgiving.
Okay. I got two more. Okay. What is a skill you wish you could have?
Athletic.
Okay.
Wish I could jump and run far.
Okay. And then last one for you. What is a game that you want me to play?
Have you heard of this game called Bloodborne?
I have heard of this game called Bloodborne. Do I suck at it? Yes, I have.
It's fine. Here's the thing. Those games break you a few hours in, and you just understand what the game demands of you. Mm-hmm. And it's, again, about rising to the occasion and mastering that thing. That's the truest dopamine rush, is achieving something you thought impossible.
Right.
And overcoming.
Yeah.
Ain't that life. It's great.
Yeah, I got to give it another solid try. I've tried it 2 or 3 times, and I've gotten to the beginning. I think Blood Soaked Beast was my farthest.
You're doing great.
This past year, I decided to stream Sekiro, and that one
break you.
That one I was actually having a great time with. Like, that's doing
the hardest one.
Which I keep hearing. I'm like, what? I was having, like, the easiest time with. I don't know why.
Beat the first boss, and then I got to the butterfly lady, and she broke me.
Gotcha.
But again, I still admire that game.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very unpopular opinion when it comes to easy modes. But, like, I couldn't beat that game, and I was like, I am fine with that.
Gotcha.
I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it was just the mechanics of Sekiro that I liked a little bit more, whether it was the mobility or the critical blows with not the counterpart to Bloodborne, obviously. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it was that or just the setting. Like, I really enjoy Bloodborne setting, and, like, I've watched playthroughs of it because I'm so, like, I want to learn more about it. But, yeah, I don't know. I didn't beat it, but I got pretty decent.
Very far.
Very far into it, yeah.
You know what it is? So Sekiro is a totally different game from Bloodborne, and I think Imran Khan actually said it great. Sekiro is a rhythm game. I suck at rhythm games.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I can't do it. I suck at timing. I'm all about the dodge. I love a good roll. You give me a good roll or dodge in a video game, just gonna love that video game. But if you come to parrying, oh boy, not the outcome I want.
Gotcha.
That's one thing. If I could get better at something, parrying.
Mm-hmm. That takes work.
That's a life skill. Yeah.
Nice. Well, everybody, this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, a.k.a. Enigma911, and today I was joined by Joe, a.k.a. Mr. Badbit. Joe, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, man.
I'm sorry I talk so much.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You didn't talk too much. Trust me. Okay. I've had an episode that's gone 3 hours, and I'm like, guys, we need to wrap up.
I was going to say, how long do we have? I forgot. I didn't ask that, but yeah, I could go long in the tooth.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Viewers, remember you guys can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 every other Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat. If you're a sub over there, we'd love to have you on the conversation with us. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. You can catch it over on YouTube and SoundCloud the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. And last but not least, #ad merch store. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us. It would be greatly appreciated. Everybody, make sure you go follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff to the Trophy Room. Great podcast over there. Make sure you guys go do that. Go follow Joe at Mr. Badbit on Twitter. Joe, once again, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, man. It means a lot.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, hopefully we can have you on again down the road. Maybe talk some more games, stuff like that. But awesome.
Talk about
awesome.
Loki? I can talk about Loki for
There we
days.
go. There we go. Nice.
That show. My friend Luke, who has terrible opinions, and I go again. Like I said, I ask him stuff. I know what he thinks it's bad, so I'm gonna do the thing he says not to do.
Yeah.
He doesn't like Loki.
Oh, what?
He thinks it's boring.
Boring. Interesting.
The man doesn't know culture.
Interesting. Yeah, that'd be a good follow-up. We should do that.
Absolutely.
All right. Listeners, viewers, thank you guys for hanging out and watching, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.